September 10th, 2012. Yeah, it's probably about 50 degrees out today. Fairly nice sunny day. I'm getting ready to winterize my hive for the winter here. My box is lined up. I just peeked in here to make sure I didn't see any mice. It's kind of hard to look in the cluster. It's actually a really decent sized cluster in this hive. They were fairly low in the box. There was a few up in the top, but it's warm. They're kind of moving around. One thing I do install on my hives is a mouse guard. I have had mice get in the hive. I just use 1/2-inch hardware cloth. I bend it a little L's shape. That'll fit right over the bottom there. I'll staple that in place. One thing you can use, I brought up at our B class, you can use tacks instead of staples. These don't kindly like you stapling on their hive. You'll see them probably come pouring out of here when I pop a couple staples in here. Give it a shot. Probably more than I needed, but this should do. Kind of tuck it in. Won't take much for a mouse to fit in. Now these holes I drill here, these are 9/16 hole. I was told a mouse can fit through a 5/8 hole, so I use a 9/16. Another thing I also do, you see that notch in the inner cover right there. It gives me an upper entrance for ventilation. See there, it's open a little bit. Bees can use that for a top. Wintertime, we can get a couple of feet of snow here, and if the bottom's snowed in, they can still get in and out of the top if they need to do a relieving flight, cleansing flight. They also have these holes here that they can use for entrances along with ventilation. I don't believe this is a... Yes, it is. This is a screen bottom board. I didn't think this hive had one, but this is a screen bottom board. I do leave them wide open. The blocks kind of protect the wind. I'll set something up here to kind of block the wind from blowing up in there, but I do leave them open. Here in central New York, key to hive survival is ventilation. Then bees will expel over a gallon of moisture from consuming the honey. You need to get that moisture out of the hive. Best way is through ventilation. Bees do create heat. Bees don't need warmth. Bees can survive the cold. They can't survive the wetness. So with a top entrance, the bees create heat. Creates a convection draft. It'll come in the bottom, up through, and expel out the top here, expelling all the moisture out of the hive. Another thing I use, I've already cut it to size. The last of my felt paper don't quite go all the way around, but they should be good enough. Black felt paper. I try to just do the, I usually do both sides and leave the front open. But this is just going to do one side and the back and a little around the further side. What this does is it gives them a little warmth. And on sunny days when it ain't quite warm enough for them to break cluster, this will help warm the hive a little bit so they can break cluster and move to some fresh honey. We have long cold spells here in New York. A lot of times the temperature won't ever get above 0 for days. Another thing I do to help, I'll take a piece of goldenrod, strip the leaves off. Pop a few staples in that like that. That'll help hold the felt paper against the side without tearing out the staples. Almost all the way around. I get about 6 inches from being quite long enough. This is the last of my felt paper. I didn't even think I had this roll. That wraps them up. We need about 60 pounds of honey to get through the winter. Most people will leave 2 deeps. I go 2 deeps in a medium. This top medium ain't quite full. There's probably 4 or 5 frames full of honey, so it gives them a little extra insurance. Better safe than sorry. Yeah, tack a couple more on there. Just keep wind from catching it. But the key thing in New York is ventilation. Enough feed to get through the winter and ventilation. So I leave my entrances wide open. I don't use an entrance reducer at all. I leave my screen bottom boards. I don't know if that shows up or not. I leave them wide open. I have my, what we call the holes of life in the front of the hive, along with the top entrance. Ventilation. Don't look like much, but they got, you can see one coming out there right now. They can fit out that hole. I do use the inner cover and the top cover. This is one of my old top covers that I got with my first hive I bought, I think, or another hive I had. The covers I make them the sides a little longer so they can come down further. And then in the winter, about March or so, I'll check these. If we get a warm day and I know the bees are making cleansing flights, I will look in. I won't pull any frames, but I'll lift the cover and I'll see if it looks like if they're up in the top at that point and it looks like they might be short on stores, I'll do what's called mountain camp feeding. I'll post a video down below, a link down below to my mountain camp feeding. It's just putting a piece of paper on top of the hive, right on top of frames, and pouring dry sugar on it. Some people use fondant. At that point, I don't know, I might put a pollen patty on, but usually I like to wait till later on. Once you start feeding pollen patties, it's best to keep feeding them. If you stop feeding the pollen patties and they don't have sources coming in, they will cannibalize the brood that they have if they don't figure they have enough stores to keep them fed. So, hope this helps. This is my second one of these videos I've done. I did one last fall, but thought I'd do an update on one. Like it says, you can use the tacks. Seeing these guys, they're active today and they didn't bother too much. You just do it quick and they didn't seem to bother too much. I have had them where you hit them a couple times with the staples and they'll come pouring out, but the thumbtacks would probably work pretty good. One guy I know, he puts felt paper on the front, and then the 3 sides he'll use like a 1/2-inch Cellutex insulation with a bungee cord and a piece of baling twine. He'll put 2 or 3 of them on to hold the insulation. He's up in Boonville. I don't know how his bees do it, but they'll literally go 2 months up there where he can't even see the hives because the snow gets so deep. I don't know how the bees can go that long without a cleansing flight, but he usually has pretty good luck wintering them. So, see, there ain't much for leaves left. Everything's gone. Been kind of a cold few days. Supposed to be in the 70s the next couple of days. But hope you enjoyed this video. Any questions? Post them down below. Any comments? Like if you like this video. If you're not a subscriber, click subscribe. Have lots of beekeeping videos and farming videos and a little bit of everything. Thanks for watching. Bye.